Okay, welcome back, students. We are recording now, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Or at least I thought I was. Hang on just a second. Now I am. In CAD 226 Canvas. If you go to module 11A, it says revolutions using Fusion 360. Right now, we don't have Fusion 360 up and running, which has been very frustrating and very annoying to me. However, we will get it up and running. But in the meantime, we're using Inventor to do a lot of the things that we were going to do with Fusion anyway. The instructions here, it says you still need to watch the video on how to create a revolution using Fusion 360. You still need to watch that video. Also, you need to complete both homework assignments and please submit both the PDFs and the PNG files like you've done before. So that's really the instructions, all right? Now, I think some of my online students have already completed this section. This is the video you need to watch, how to create this part using Fusion 360. But we're going to create this exact same part today using Inventor. So let me go back and what does homework 1 look like? Well, if you were doing homework 1, you would submit a PNG file, looks like this. And you would submit a drawing that looks like this. Okay. Now, what we need to do, while I have it pulled up, you probably should take a picture of this so that we have something to look at when we're doing in our Inventor. So let me take a picture of this so I don't have to keep flipping back and forth between screens. All right. All right, I'm going to go back. And then our next homework assignment is this one here. All these dimensions are in millimeters. So remember this. This is like a dumbbell set. Any of y'all weightlifters in here? Okay. All right. So those are the 2 homework assignments. They're not very hard. So that completes the module. Okay. So after we complete the module today, my machining 162 students need to continue finishing up any work that's not finished. You need to finish up, you need to study for the NIMS test, which was supposed to be this Friday. But because half the class is not going to be here this Friday due to the school being closed, and next week being spring break for Virginia Peninsula faculty and students, the following week, that Friday, not next week, but the following will be your, that's okay, because we're getting everybody a machinery handbook. So everybody have their own to use during the test. So that's a good thing. All right. So let me go ahead and I'm going to stop my share here. Okay. And I'm going to go into, go ahead and open up. I'm so sorry. This weather keeps changing. It affects my throat. Go ahead and click on Autodesk Inventor Professional. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again because I've switched applications. Every time you switch application, you got to stop the share and reshare. All right, so everybody's familiar with this, so that's the good thing. Let's go to new. Well, let me give you a second. Is everybody here? Okay. So we have to make this part. One of the things I'm going to have you do pretty soon is I'm going to give you a part to look at, and then we're going to look at it and say, what tools do we need to machine that part? And that's good for whether you whether you're doing manual machining or whether you're doing CNC machining. Okay. One more time. It's called a job setup plan. And if you're the engineer or machinist and you're trying to figure out, well, what tools are we going to need to use in the manual machining process, or what tools are we going to need to use in the CNC machining process? So you have to get those together. So that's why we're going to do some of this for a little bit. We're going to do some more CNC programming. We're not done with it. We got another 8 weeks to go. So we got a long ways to go. All right, so go ahead and select new. Now, the part that we are doing is metric. So we don't do metric parts too often, but select metric and select standard IPT, which stands for inventor part file. It's in millimeters, right? And go to create. All right, we want to start 2D sketch, start 2D sketch, and we're going to click on the XY plane. Millimeters. Now, believe it or not, the way we're going to do this is slightly different than what you might expect. So what I'd like for you to do is I would like for you to go to circle and select circle center point. And I want you to come down here to the origin and I want you to click. Now, the radius we're going to need is 60. So we're going to have to multiply that by 2 for the diameter. So 60 times 2 is 120. So I'm going to type in 120 here. Enter. Do a right click, okay, and zoom out. So far, so good. All right. You'll find out it's not too bad of a thing to work on. Now, we're not going to use all the circle. We're going to cut some of this away. What I need you to do now is draw a construction line. This is just a construction line only. Go to line, and click on the origin. And I want you to drag a line straight up on the y-axis, left click, right click, okay. Now, we got this line here that we can use. Now, this is the center line. This is a construction line, but it's also serving temporarily as the center line. What is 75? What is the dimension 70 divided by 2? That's 35, right? So we're going to go to offset, and I'm going to click on that line, and I'm going to come over half of the thickness. The thickness is 70. Again, you should look at the original drawing. We're going to type in 35 here. Do a right click, okay. Now we're going to repeat that, and then I'm going to stop for a second until you catch up with me. This is going to be 35 as well. Right click, okay. So that's where we're at right now. Raise your hand when you get to this point, so I know that you're here. Everyone's here? So what do I do next? I have to use the trim, right? I have to go to trim. It's like a pair of scissors, and click here, and click here, and click here. Right click, okay. I don't really need this center line right now. I'm going to delete this center line for right now, but I want you to draw another center line. Watch carefully, please. Go to line, click right here at this endpoint and go to this endpoint right here. Click, do a right click, okay. All right, now Mr. Morris, what in the world have we created here? This is going to be the profile that we're going to revolve about the x-axis. So once you have this arc and these two vertical lines and this horizontal line drawn, now we can go to finish sketch. I'm going to zoom out. Okay. Now we've been using extrude a lot, but we're not going to use extrude for this. We're going to use revolve. So click on revolve, please. And when you do, your profile should automatically highlight like this. At least I hope it is for you. Now, we have to select an axis of rotation. So that's what it's asking for, right? The profile is already selected. It did that automatically for you because it was a closed region. But now we have to select the axis of rotation, and you can click on this line here. And I'm going to select, okay. Now, you know, Mr. Morris hates the generic colors of Inventor. So I'm going to change. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save this. Hang on, let me see what I'm calling this again. I'm sorry, hang on 1 second. I guess we're calling this Revolution. We're going to save as, and just all capital letters, type in Revolution. Type in Revolution -1. Type in Revolution -1 and select save. Okay, so over here in the browser now, you should see where it says Revolution 1. Okay, now we need to change the material. How do we do that? Does anybody remember how we change the material? You got to go to our properties. So we right click on the file. Okay, you can tell me, you can talk me through it. Select eye properties. What next? Physical, material, and Mr. Morris has been selected the steel alloy because I think that looks pretty cool. Apply, mainly because of that shine right there. All right. Now, believe it or not, that was the hardest part of this assignment so far. We're going to go to Start 2D Sketch and Start 2D Sketch. And we're going to click on this face right here. And I'm looking at this, and we're going to draw another circle. But, you know, Mr. Morris likes to be an isometric view. So we're going to draw another circle right here. And we're going to make this 25. So 50. So it's 50 millimeters in diameter. Hit enter. Do a right click. Okay. Now, the depth of this, we have to look at this as, well, if the total width of this is 70, and the web thickness is 20, so basically 70 minus 20 is 50. Take 50 divided by 2, and that's 25. So we're going to finish the sketch, and we're going to extrude this inward by 25, but you want to go inward and select OK. When you do, you have this little pocket. Okay, we're making good progress now. Mr. Morris is going to use the view cube to get over to this side. Start 2D sketch. Start 2D sketch. I want you to click on this face. And we're going to draw another circle, center point, click right here at the origin, drag it out 50 millimeters. Do a right click, okay. We're going to finish the sketch. We're going to extrude that. We're going to go inward, and we're going to say okie dokie right there. And I'll wait here just for a minute or two. until you catch up with Mr. Morris. Does anyone know how to drive a stick shift in here? I have a truck. I have a truck that's 33 years old now, almost. I bought it brand new. And it's automatic. I mean, it's excuse me, I meant to say manual. It's a manual. And this almost looks like a gear shift knob. Y'all need to learn how to drive a stick shift just for the fun of it. So you can see what your parents went through. You learn how to drive one? I love driving a stick shift. I have a Toyota Celica engine in my truck. It looks like it's a regular old small Toyota, but it will get it. All right, this is a lot of fun. Go to Start 2D Sketch, and click on this face right here. Now, if you look at this drawing, I don't know if y'all took a picture of it. If you didn't, that's okay. I've got the picture of it. We have 6 holes here, and it's on a bolt hole circle of 75. So look, we're going to go to circle center point. We're going to click on the origin. We're going to drag out a circle that's 75 millimeters in diameter. Do a right click. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is I'm only going to put one hole here, or actually a point. If you go to point, click on point, and come right here at the 12 o'clock position, you'll feel it snap. It won't turn green, but you'll feel it snap to that point. Once it snaps, click. Do a right click. Okay. You're going to have, it's hard to see, but if you hover, you'll see that you have a point right there at the 12 o'clock position. Now we're going to go to finish the sketch, and we're going to go to hole. Now, this hole is a metric hole. We don't do metric holes too often, but that's okay. So click on the threaded tapped hole here, threaded. Okay. And we're not going to have any seat. So threaded hole, no seat. So we don't have that just means we don't have a counter bore or a spot face or a countersink. It's no seat to it. But we're always used to using this type of thread here because we're usually using English threads, but we're going to arrow down here and we're going to go to ANSI, metric, M profile, click on that. All right. Now we're not done because the size hole that we're using is a 12 millimeter. That's the diameter. So come down here, arrow down, and you're going to select 12. And notice that the pitch, by the way, that means metric. That means a 12 millimeter diameter hole. And the 1.75 is called the pitch, which means it's the distance from one thread to the next. It's the space between the threads. Okay? Is called the pitch. Now we want to go through all here. Come down to where it says turn. We want to go all the way through this part. Now, say full depth. You want the thread to be full depth. And so let's check what we got. We got ANSI metric, M profile. We have a 12 millimeter threaded hole. Again, it's metric, 12 millimeters, and the pitch is 1.75 from one. So that's 1.75 millimeters between the threads. This is the classification of fit, which is a 6H. It's a right-hand thread, and we want the threads to be full depth, which means they go all the way through, and select OK. Now, if you look on the other side, you'll see that hole goes all the way through. Okay. Now, what we need to do is we have 6 of these holes. We have 6 of them. We don't have to go into the sketch mode. We can go up here to a circular pattern. This means circular pattern. You're going to click on that hole right there. And that's the feature. See, it was highlighted. And we clicked on the hole. Now let's click on the rotation axis, this arrow. And all you really have to do is click on that hole right there. And then you come over here and you see what your count is. This is called the occurrence count. And it's 6 right now, but it could be 4. It could be 3, right? It could be 8, but it's not. It's 6. And we have 6 holes, and we're going to select OK. Now, believe it or not, we are actually done with the part as far as the part goes. It's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm gonna back up. You tell me where to stop, okay?
It's before.
This part, you're right here? Okay, so here's what you do. Over here where it says pattern, you click on circular pattern. Then you select features, come down here and select that hole. And then you go click on the rotation axis, click on this arrow, and we're going to click on that circle. And you see, by default, we have 6 already, but you could change that if you needed to for another, if you had some, if it required more holes, you know, like 8, for example, you know, you could just change that number. That's the placement. But we only have 6. And the holes are going to go all the way through because the first hole went all the way through. So I just select OK. Get it?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? Let's do a file and save. Now you want to do a file. You want to export as an image file. And you want to save it not as a bitmap, but as a PNG. And make sure you remember where you're saving it. Okay. We probably should have created a project file folder, but that's okay. I'm gonna click here. All right, so that's the picture. Now we have to make our drawing. The drawing should go rather quickly. And then you'll probably be able to start doing some other things. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, New, and we're going to select metric again. You can't mix English and metric, or you shouldn't at least. And then come down here to where you see standard. We don't want assembly, excuse me. Come down here till you see ANSI, millimeter, IDW, right here. ANSI, millimeter, IDW, and select create. Now this is the template, but we don't want to use this size. So we have to go over here to the browser and do a right click on sheet 1 and say edit sheet. We want a size A. And I'm going to leave it as a portrait this time and select OK. So this is our drawing border and title block. So now we're going to go to base. Now, that's not the view that I want first. I want my front view first. So I'm going to click on this. Actually, you can change the scale a little bit if you want. You can change it to 3/4 scale if you wish, but actually that's kind of big too. I think 1/2 is too small. How about 0.625? Yeah, 0.625 looks good. Select OK. Now you can zoom in here. I moved that over. Now what I want to do is I want to annotate this somewhat with center marks. We're going to do the right side view and the isometric here just in a minute. Go to annotate, please. And you're going to go down here to, well, the first one I want to show you is called a centered pattern. If you click on centered pattern, and then come down here and click on the edge of your part one time. And then what I want you to do is I want you to hover over the holes. And you see what it's doing. You click every time you see the center. Right click, create. I can do that again. You want me to do that again? Because it is kind of tricky. Look, you go to this one here. Centered pattern, click. Come down, click on the edge of the circle, and then do this. Click at the center of each one of these circles. Click, click, click. It will follow you. Click, 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 and click. And then do a right click, create. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? So that's really the center mark, center line for the, it's actually the bolt hole circle is what it is. It's a beautiful thing, as Martha Stewart would say. All right, now we need to create a section view here. So we'll go back to place views here. We need to create a section view. So right here is where it says section. Click on section. Now watch very carefully how I do this. After I click on section, I come down to this part until I see the red rectangle. I click. Now watch. I hover. I don't click. I just hover over the center of this part, and I go up. And I come off maybe, roughly, I don't know, about right here at the 12 o'clock position. Click. And then I slowly go all the way through to the other side about the same distance. Come off the circle about the same distance. Click. Then do a right click. And then select continue. And you're going to bring this part over right here. And you're going to click. Do a right click, hit the escape button on your keyboard. Now I'm going to move this up just a little bit. Y'all know how to move things up. What do you think? You got that so far? Pretty cool, right? All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to projected one more time. And I'm going to project. You go up at the 1 o'clock position here. Put that right there. Do a left click, right click, create. All right. Now, Mr. Morris, he likes to do what? He likes to shade it. Do a right click, edit the view, and we're going to click on this button right here and select OK. And there's the shade. All right. Now, what I want to do is we need to add our dimensions. But I'm going to try to be consistent and lay them out like I've done before. So what we need to do, you can zoom in if you want. Go to annotate and go to dimension. And I'm going to click right here on this. Now, notice there's 2 decimal places. Click. We're going to change the precision and tolerance to 0 decimal right here. Go to precision and tolerance, change the primary unit to 0, primary tolerance to 0, select OK, right click, OK. All right, now we're going to do another one of those. Right here, click, go to precision and tolerance, change this to what? 0, 0, select OK. All right, now we need to do an angular dimension. Go to dimension, click here on this, right here on this center line, click on this center line, and you're going to drag out an angle like this. That means each one of those holes are 60 degrees apart. Click. Same thing, go to your angular tolerance, 0. Select OK. All right. Now let's see, we need to add, we have this dimension, we have this one. We need to add a note for this hole. Go to where it says hole and thread, click on that, and we're going to click on that screw right there, that screw hole rather, click. That's a beautiful thing right there because it tells you that it's 12 millimeters and the pitch is 1.75 and the fit is 6H. Okay. Now there's 6 of them, which is obvious, but sometimes you might want to double click on this and put in parentheses 6X, 6X, and then say okay. So that means there's no questions now that all those holes are the same and they are 60 degrees apart. All right, we're doing a beautiful job here. Let's go over here to this view and we're going to add some center lines here. We're going to go to annotate, which we're already there. Come over here till we have the center marks. I'm going to click on this one right here, the bisector. I'm going to click here and here. Beautiful. Come here and here. That looks nice. And I'm going to do watch now. Click here and there. That puts that one. Now watch. I'm going to click here and here. Right click, cancel. Now, if you move your mouse near that line, you see the little grips. Hold down your left mouse button on one of those green dots and you can stretch it. I usually stretch it above and below a little bit like that. All right, now let's put some dimensions here. I may have to move things, may have to shift things a little bit, but I'm going to put a dimension right here. I want only one decimal place, or no decimal place rather. Right click, okay. Then we have this dimension right here, here, here. Again, Mr. Morris doesn't like the decimals for this particular one. We're also going to dimension the, now look, I don't like to leave the dimension on the part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click right there temporarily, and I'm going to change it to 0 here and 0. Okay, right click, okay. But now I'm going to drag this off part. And you can move it either side, whichever side you want on. I'll tell you what, I'll be different this time and put it over here. Now, if there's a center line right here and you see 20 right here, that means that this is also 10. But we're going to assume that people can't read drawings too well. I'm going to move this over here like that. And I'm gonna change the number of decimal places. Looking good. Looking good, folks. All right, I have one more dimension I need to add here. Let's see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. We have one more dimension. We have to add right here. Click, click. Now, I know, Mr. Morris, that looks horrible. Yeah, we're gonna fix that. For right now, I gotta place a dimension. Right click. See this? You can pull it down. You can pull this view up some if you need to. Or you can also double click on this and you can change the scale of this a little bit. Change it to like 4, not 4.57. Change, right click. Okay. I'm not going to make you put right side view here this time, but I'm going to have you come over here and I'm going to have you put right here, look, front view. I'm going to highlight this. Gonna make it bold. Underline, you guys got this. You know how to do that. Come up here below this one. ISO view, highlight it, make it bold, underline, select OK, right click OK. Now, if it looks like you're running out of room, you can always move this line down a little bit right here. What do you think? Looks good so far, right? I'll give you a breather for a second to catch up. You might be behind me. You might be ahead of me. Who knows? Y'all are quick. I will put this video in the module as well. All right, now we need to fill out the title block, and then we need to save this as a PDF. So come up here on the browser, do a right click, go to iProperties, General is okay, go to Summary. The title of this is Revolution 1. The subject is what? What is the subject? CAD 226. Who's the author? Is it you or me? It's you. Who's the manager? Me. Who's the company? Type it, write it all the way out. Virginia Peninsula can't get my fingers to work. That's the side effect of getting old. Go to project. For project, you are designer. Please don't misspell your name like Mr. Morris has done on occasions. Engineer is you, and the authority is Mr. Morris. Go to status, checked by you. Check the date. Engineer approved by you. Check the date. Manufacturer approved by Mr. Morris. Check the date. And apply and close. File. Save. Save. Tell you what, you guys, your drawings look so good because you've been following Mr. Morris's lead that you could get you a job doing draft and design if you needed to. You have something to fall back on just from the CAD alone. Just from the CAD alone, you have something to fall back on. Okay? So I've been very proud of your CAD efforts. I've been very proud of your CAD efforts. All right, so we have to plot this now. So we're going to go to File. We're going to Export. We're going to go to PDF and just hit Save. Now what you need to do is you need to submit both of these. Once I create a place, I have to create a place for them real quickly. Mr. Morris is going to take these two drawings I did today, or not drawing, one drawing and one picture file, and I'm going to place that in the module. And I'm going to also post this video. Okay. All right. So let me stop the share here. And I'm going to stop the recording. So all my online students, I hope you have a blessed day. We'll talk to you later. Hit the stop the recording.